Shopping and spending money can be really exciting, and for many of us it can even give us a bit of a rush. It's completely normal, and it seems to be the way a lot of us think naturally. Not to mention, we live in a society where trends are always changing and there seems to be some sort of social pressure to keep up with them. We have adverts in our face all the time, and access to shopping both in stores and online has never been easier. But if you're watching this video today, it's probably because you're looking at changing your spending habits, and it's all about changing your mindset. I consider myself at this point in time to be a minimalist, but on that journey, I have embarked upon no buys to really try and restrict my spending. Now, that's all well and good, restricting yourself and putting limits on yourself and trying to do a no buy. But what if the desire to actually want to spend money runs deeper, and actually shopping and spending money is something that brings you excitement? Surely putting a restriction on yourself is something that's going to get you down. The answer is changing your mindset so that you no longer want to shop, as opposed to putting restrictions on yourself when you do want to shop. So I'm going to share with you today my 7 top tips to stop that feeling of wanting to buy more. Before we jump in, make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content. Here we go. So my first tip is to take a break from Instagram. In my opinion, Instagram is the worst social media in terms of encouraging you to shop and buy things and spend your money. And that is honestly not because you are bombarded with ads and all the things that you should be buying, because I think many of us can sort of take ads for what they are. They're there, but you're not always tempted to click on them, and you can just scroll past them. Whereas one of the key things for a lot of people with Instagram, as we had with Twitter, is that you can follow your favorite celebrities and your favorite influencers, people that have a lot of money and live very lavish lifestyles. And Instagram, with it being photo-based more so than Twitter, is the perfect place for them to show off the absolute best aspects of their lifestyle. Of course, that's a complete generalization, and many of us don't just use Instagram to follow celebrities or influencers. We also follow our family and our friends and everyone in between, but we do have a lot of exposure to a more expensive and luxurious lifestyle, and it makes us want a taste of that. I think for some people that is only natural, that we want a part of that. But in reality, with us, with our normal everyday jobs, our income just won't stretch to that sort of lifestyle. So we try to compensate by just having a tiny little bit of what they have, because we think it will bring us happiness. But in the end, all it's going to do is give you a tiny little taste and leave you wanting more. And then when will you ever be satisfied with these purchases that you are making? Once you've got used to that item and the novelty's worn off, it's going to leave you wanting more again, and you're going to feel down about it and realize that that lifestyle is something that right now probably isn't within your grasp. So my advice is just to take a break, step back from Instagram. You won't feel as much pressure or the desire to buy things that you see influencers and celebrities using or promoting. And I think at the same time, you will feel a little bit happier because you're not constantly reminded of the things that you don't have. My second tip is to ask yourself why you want the item that you're about to purchase. If it's a status thing, you're trying to impress someone or fit in with a certain circle of people, ask yourself if you're still going to want that item when the trend moves on and it's no longer relevant, and you're left with an outdated item that was popular for a few months and now it's not anymore. If you're not going to be able to keep up with the trends, then you're not going to be happy, and you're not going to satisfy that craving to always have up-to-date, new and on-trend items. Instead, stop and find items that you love because they are to your tastes, and that they will be items that you continue to love for months, even years, even when the trends change, because they are suited to you and what you like. Tip number 3 is to simply get outside and do stuff. Find happiness in experiences and with people rather than things. If you're out and you're having a good time, you're not thinking about the things you want to buy, the things you don't have, the things you feel like you're missing on a material level in your life. You're not thinking about that because you're out and you're having a brilliant time, and you'll soon realize that to have a good time and to enjoy your life, you don't necessarily need all of this stuff. And it's all about the mindset shift. Once you realize that, you will want to spend less and you will stop that feeling of wanting to buy all these things all the time. And even if you're not a particularly social person, you don't have to go out and do stuff with people, but you can go ahead and find a hobby that suits you, that is something you're interested in, that brings you happiness aside from shopping. As a former shopaholic, I would have said at one point shopping was a hobby, but I now have other things that I do to occupy my time, so the majority of the time I'm not thinking about shopping and I'm not thinking about things I want to buy. And speaking from personal experience, staying home all the time and being cooped up in your house, thinking about all the things you want but don't have, is a horrible feeling. It really gets you down. So even just for the sake of your sanity, get out there so you're not thinking about the material things all the time. Tip number 4 is actually to get yourself into a routine. Like I said in the previous point, sitting around and not enjoying your life because you're too busy worrying about the things you don't have, the things you want, or the fact that you want to spend money but feel like you shouldn't, will get you down. It's not a positive feeling and it's not a feeling that's going to make any of us happy. My personal experience with this one is from the summer of 2019, so that was before I started my minimalism journey and really cut back on my shopping. And you got to bear in mind that at this time I was completely a shopaholic and I loved spending money and I loved buying things. I even got a thrill from spending money, even if the thing I bought didn't actually excite me that much. It was more about the excitement of actually spending money, which is a very strange mindset now I think back to it. But the point was, I had some vacation time from work in the summer and I decided to give myself that summer to stay home and rest, because all the years previous I had taken a trip in the summer and I'd always come back exhausted and then have to go back to work feeling more tired and like I hadn't had a break. So I decided I'd take that summer, stay home and rest. And I would get really down because I had the time to just sit around and think about, if you like, almost like a dream life or a fantasy life where I had the big house and the nice cars and I was able to spend my money on loads of designer things. And for me at that time, that was what was important to me and that was what I really wanted. And you know, I was very realistic about the fact that that is not going to happen. That was never going to happen, particularly the job I do, you know, the income I get from that, it was never going to lead to that. And sort of having in your mind that that dream lifestyle is a complete impossibility is something that really got me down. And I spent my vacation time just sort of seeping into a lower and lower mood. And actually, when I got back to work and back to reality and into my normal job and surrounded by people that are living the same sort of lifestyle, I felt so much better. Just getting back into the real world and out of that fantasy space of thinking about all the things I really want and the things that I don't have. And again, going back to the idea of spending money on small aspects of this, you know, expensive and luxury lifestyle, but realizing it doesn't add up to the same thing and just really seeping into a lower and lower mood over that. Just getting back to work and getting back into my normal routine of real life really did just bring me back up and make me feel better. So getting back into a routine is a really good way to take your mind off shopping and spending money, and it really helps you to just live in the moment with what you have, and you can actually be happy doing that. Tip number 5 is to have something amazing that you're saving towards, that you're working towards, something that you really want. Now, depending on your financial situation, that could be for your dream home or for your dream car, or you might want to have renovations done on your current home to make it nicer. You might want to have a nice spendy vacation somewhere. I'm guessing if you're watching this video, then you do have some interest in the more materialistic things in life. So you might want to save for something along those lines. And to save for some of those more expensive things in life, we have got to cut back on the spending of those smaller items that, when we buy loads of them, really drain our finances and leave us with not much left. Having that goal, that target, something to really drive you to save money will really help you not want to spend it on essentially what is pointless and wasteful purchases, particularly those purchases that we buy thinking we really want it, and then we get little to no use out of them, and you sit there wondering why on earth you ever spent your money on it. If you've got something you're desperate to do, to achieve, that is a bigger goal, if you like, then that determination, that drive will encourage you to save. And you know the only way to save money is to stop spending it on the things we don't really need. It will encourage you to stop spending. And if you are tempted, if you're about to buy something, think about that amazing thing you are saving for and think how great that experience will feel when you get your hands on it, because I guarantee that feeling will be millions of times better than the small amount of goodness you get from all those little purchases combined. So find something that you're passionate about, that you really want to have or experience, and start saving for it. Tip number 6 is to try decluttering, because if you do, first of all, you will realize just how much stuff you already have. You will realize how much of that stuff barely gets used or doesn't get used at all, and henceforth has been a complete waste of your money. But also, you will find that getting rid of the stuff you've decluttered is by far the hardest part of the journey. So many people film decluttering videos and they get really emotional, and it's really difficult for them to get rid of their possessions. They don't want to let go. They enjoy those things and they mean a lot. Honestly, that's not the hard part. The actual getting rid of things is the hard part, whether you have to sell them, donate them, and find somewhere where that donation will actually be of value, and you're not just offloading your rubbish onto a charity shop, for example. Whether you can recycle them, whether the item's got to be trashed. And if you do have to trash an item, you do then start to think about the environmental impact of it. And that is only one factor of the environmental impact, is you trashing the item. I mean, that thing has gone through a whole manufacturing process, which is a whole other story in terms of the environment. There is so much work in actually getting the stuff out of your space that it makes you question when you are about to buy something else. Whenever I buy something now, I'm like, how am I going to get rid of that when I'm done with it? It's like, it's too much. It's so much work, especially if you declutter a lot all at once. And I promise you, if you do try to declutter like your wardrobe or an area in your house, you will understand the work that goes into it. Assuming, of course, you declutter and get rid of things responsibly, and it will make you question whether or not you want to buy something in the future. And tip number 7 is to take a step back and realize what you have. If you're a bit of a shopaholic, and that is why you're here watching this video today, then you have probably got something at home similar to the item that you are tempted to buy. The only difference is this newer item is, well, new. And you want it because it's new. It might be a little bit different, but you want it because it's new and it's more exciting to have something that's new. That old one that you've got at home, well, the novelty's worn off with that now. It's not exciting anymore. But it probably would still work in exactly the same way, and you could use it in the same way, or with a little bit of work or styling, depending on what the item is, you could make it work in the way this new item is going to work for you. And don't forget, in a few weeks, months, however long it is, this new item you're thinking of buying, that novelty will wear off too, because that will then become an older item, and you'll go round in an endless loop of, I bought something new because it's exciting. Oh, that item's old now and it's not exciting anymore. So I'll buy something new, and now it's not exciting anymore. And it will keep going round, and you will never be completely fulfilled because you're always wanting that excitement of new stuff. When if you actually think about it, you will probably find you've got something already. Again, this is if you're a shopaholic and you've got loads of stuff already, you will probably find there is something that already works and you're only buying it to have a new, refreshed version of something you've already got. So there you have it. Those are my 7 tips of how you can try to stop that feeling of wanting to buy stuff and wanting to spend money. I hope you found one or more of these tips helpful and applicable to yourself, and that you'll be able to give them a go. That's all for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like it, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.